Hello boys and girls, welcome to our Investigating Science series. Now for the past 2 lessons we have been looking at forces, and today we're going to look at another kind of force. This is friction. So what do you know about friction? In many cases we know that friction can help. For instance, if a car is driving very fast and it applies the brake, the reason that the car stops is that friction, that force, is being felt between the tires and the surface of the road. Good. So you may know that friction is that force that opposes motion. But do you also know that friction exists once 2 surfaces come in contact with each other? Yes. So once there is a contact of 2 surfaces, then friction is at play. All right, so today we're going to be investigating friction. Now I want you to work with me to help me to design this experiment so that we can see how friction affects movement. How would you carry out this investigation? Okay, we may think that we would use different surfaces, yes, so that is an idea. So today I have an example of 3 different surfaces. And to determine the surface, of course, we'll look at the texture of the material. So here I have a piece of cloth and it feels quite rough, right? Compare that to a foil paper. What can you say about the surface of a foil paper? Aluminium foil. Well, apart from the fact that it looks shiny, when we feel the surface, it is quite smooth. So the cloth is a bit rough. The aluminium foil is very smooth, and I also have a piece of bubble wrap. And when I feel that surface, it's quite bumpy. Okay, so we're going to see today how the different surfaces affect how quickly my toy car will travel along this ramp. So we're going to allow it to fall on the ramp and see how far. So we're going to measure the distance that the car travels based on the different surfaces that I use on my ramp. Okay? Are you ready? Okay, so notice we've set up our ramp. We have our ruler to measure the distance, right? And we're using the same car throughout to ensure that it is a fair test. Okay, let's go. So okay, so when I have just the wood surface, we're checking to see how far it goes, right? Good, and if we wanted, we could have measured that, but we're just using that for our first demonstration. All right, so let's try our foil paper. So we'll just wrap our ramp with the foil and then check to see how far this car will go. All right, and we want to ensure that we start at the same point each time and use about the same amount of force to release it. Okay, so we're going to measure that distance, right? All right, just to ensure that we have the same point. So this seems to be about 26 centimeters. I hope you remember that. All right, so what should we do next? We can change the surface. So we're going to move now from using aluminum foil to using this piece of material here. Fabric is a better word, which is a bit rough. So again, we will make sure that our ramp is covered with this material. fabric, and we're going to see how quickly the car travels. Sorry, the distance that it travels. Again, starting from the same point. Oh, this one went a bit far. Let's try again. I hope I didn't change anything. Okay, all right. Let's write down this. So this is about, well, at the very edge, that would be about 30 centimeters. Okay. Now let's try our bubble wrap. So we again would wrap our material, our ramp, in this bubble wrap. I think I know what happened with the first one there. I somehow changed the angle. So let me just wrap it and leave it and try not to change it. All right. So we're going to release our car. Oh dear, it's not moving. See? Let's check the distance. That says about 15 centimeters. I think we want to do over our cloth because we may have changed the angle of the ramp a little. And that's the beauty of science. You can always redesign your experiment, all right? Okay, still 30. All right, so notice that our bubble wrap, because it is a bit bumpy, right? We would expect that it would affect, it would have more friction between the bubble wrap and the tires on the car. And hence, the distance that the car traveled was only 15 centimeters. Our foil paper, which is quite smooth, and our fabric, piece of fabric, which is also smooth, allowed the car to travel a far greater distance because, of course, it had less friction acting between the two surfaces. And that is a simple demonstration of how different surfaces, the friction that is caused between the two surfaces, how it affects movement. Now you can tell me how we can make this an even better experiment. Next time, probably we could check to see how fast the car traveled. And that would give us another way to measure friction. Okay, that's all for now. See you next time when we investigate another science concept. Goodbye.